What did we learn yesterday?
How much we don't know about React.
We didn't do any React yesterday. What was that?
JavaScript review.
JavaScript review. Yeah, no React, Christy. That was all JavaScript yesterday.
Oh, the ES, no, ES6. That's what I mean.
ES6 is all JavaScript, yes. Do we have any light bulb moments on ES stuff? Did we find that helpful? Did we find that depressing? Where were we at?
It was helpful to know what I need to read and study.
It's good. Anything else from yesterday? Okay, well, we can dive right into the password project and kind of where we left off. I'm going to share the Trello board because we're kind of halfway, right? So just to review what we did on Tuesday, we added a link to the login page so that you could click on reset password. We created a component and a route to a reset password page. Then we created a form to enter the user to enter their email address. Then we triggered an API call to send an email to the email that got entered on the front end. Then on the back end, we set up a third-party email sending service called SendGrid. And then we sent the password reset email that also included a link to reset the password. So that's where we left off. Where we're headed into is creating a component and route to set up to set the new password based off of the user clicking the reset link. Then we need to make that set password page have a form to enter the new password. Then we need to make an endpoint that resets the password. And then finally, we're going to take the user to the login page and tell them that it's been reset. I do anticipate class going a little short tonight, which means that we will have time for capstones. Headed into next week. Next week will be, I will be in person. Being in person will be optional. A reminder that we are off 2 Mondays from now, not this upcoming Monday, but the following Monday for Labor Day. Then Tuesday and Wednesday are strongly encouraged to be in person for capstone presentation prep. So that will be in person Tuesday and Wednesday at Common Space, and then that following Thursday will be all will be graduation. That will be on Lemoyne's campus, the same place that we had kickoff, and hopefully seeing everyone there. Wayne, any questions?
Yeah, so just in case, like Tuesday and Wednesday, what time would it be the normal time?
Normal time 5:30 to 8:30.
Okay. I might be working, so I might might have to just Zoom.
That's fine. We'll still have Zoom open. We're just encouraging as many people to be there as possible because we're going to be doing like practice presentations and that kind of stuff.
I definitely need that part.
Maybe if it was a little earlier, I could be there though. I'm just saying.
Unfortunately, I cannot do any earlier because I've got meetings up until 5. So unfortunately, I cannot do earlier, but that does not mean that you guys can't get there earlier if you would like to have a little more time to work on it at Common Space. Next week, that is all the capstone presentation prep stuff. That is the last week of class. Next week, we have basically add-on modules. So I'm going to have a list of topics and resources for you guys to go out and learn on your own. So I'm going to have things like React Native, which is how to build a mobile app using the React syntax, right? So React Native is a completely separate project from React, but it is made using the same JavaScript syntax, that JSX. Little different way of approaching making a mobile app, but I'm gonna have more details on that. I'm gonna have more details on kind of database administration and architecting. I'm gonna have a couple other options there. So any questions before we dive into password reset? Show of hands, does anyone want me to open a breakout room to work on your capstone? Yes, okay, I will do that. One moment. Stop sharing. Choose. Okay, the breakout room should, oh no, now it should be open. So if you would prefer to go work on your capstone instead of the password reset project, feel free to jump into that other room. And then I will close the rooms kind of when we're done the password reset.
I have a question. If I wanted to work on my password reset and then like no, if I want to work on my capstone, can I just do my password reset like from YouTube?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay, all right. I lied. I ain't going nowhere.
Okay. One second. Okay. So I am going to, does anyone want a copy of the code to start where we left off, or are you all caught up? All caught up? Okay, cool. Then I will just my desktop, my code. I'm gonna duplicate this into a day 4 folder. So week 22, day 2 is where I am picking up from. So if you separate out your code by day, feel free to duplicate that. If not, you can just start off in that exact same folder. Day 4.
If we already put our blog in a Git repository, is there any reason we shouldn't just keep working on the one copy?
No. In fact, you should keep on working on the one copy.
Okay.
Yeah, that is something to do on my to-do list is do some research on GitHub desktop to see if we can GitHub Classroom, excuse me, so that we can incorporate Git a little bit earlier on. I know that we had the first week of classes where we had Git, or not the first week, I think week 5 we introduced Git, but that is something that I want to do to improve the program and see if we can use Git more frequently and for like all homework assignments and that kind of stuff, so that when you do get to the end of the program, your Git's already up to date.
Yeah, that would definitely be good.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen. I'm starting a live share. Live stream. Back end. One end. You guys over here. I share this. And that That's there. That's there. Give you guys a minute to jump into the live shares if you want. We're gonna get resituated here. I am going to open an integrated terminal. I'm going to npm run start on both of them. Mhm. Oh, I didn't npmi first. Dumbass. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up my server.js. I'm going to pull up my app.js. And this is a very common thing. Oh, Wayne, go ahead. Do you have a question, Wayne? You're muted.
I have to share.
Oh, go ahead.
My app keeps crashing. I was trying to make sure I'm on starting off good before I start bed. Username, I think, somewhere here.
Column user username does not exist. Okay, so right here is a problem. Let me just see wherever you have username. It's all over your server.js. So let's say username, and whenever we see username, I'm hesitant to replace it everywhere, but I think that's what we might have to do. So let's just do email and see what that breaks. That appeared to work. Let's restart your front end. There you go.
It was I had to change the username to email. Forgot that.
Yes. Yeah,
Thanks.
no problem.
So it's like username that exists.
Everyone else good to go? Got things started up, ready to code? Okay, so one of the beauties of using Trello is that oftentimes when we're implementing a feature, that feature is going to get implemented over several days, right? So the great thing about using Trello is we can pick up right where we left off. We know the last thing we did was we sent the email password that includes a link to reset the password. And then over here, it says create a component and route to set the password page. Okay, well, if we look at our email that we sent, let me find that SG email. We sent the message and the message said, click here and this aref to reset your password. So we are going to set up this set password link. So what we're going to do is we're going to say route pass equals our set password. And the element is going to go to our set password page, but we don't have a set password page. We've got a forgot password page. And it's important to differentiate that, right? The forgot password page is going to be the page that sends the email, but we're going to have another page that once they click on the link, they can then set their password because they got to that link. So what we do is we say there's a new file called setPassword.js. And that's going to be our basic set password component. It's gonna return an div with an H1 that says reset password, or let's say be even more clear, set new password. We're gonna export our default set password. We're gonna go back to our app.js and we're gonna say we can now use the set password component that completes out our set password. So we go back to Trello and our create component and route to set password page is done. And now we say, okay, what's next? Make the set password page have a form to enter a new password. So I'll stop here and make sure everyone's got, if you go to your blog and just go localhost 3000/set password, you should be able to see set new password. See, that's all we've done so far. Doug, go ahead.
Is there the path that we send to the email? Sorry, I'm looking at my database page. Where we send the email, the click route is localhost 3000. Is there a way to make that dynamically change to Heroku if we have this
Yep, you could do
up there?
Great question. Yeah, what you could do is something like this. You could say const URL equals, if there's a process.env.db URL, or I'm not sure exactly what the environment flag you have set is, but you could do something like, if there's a URL set, then go to otherwise go to, oops. And then in here, we would just replace that with our URL. So this obviously you would have to replace with whatever the deployed version is.
And that would be the blog front end.
Correct.
Could you just make a run through what you did again?
Yep. So we left off with this email sending, right? And it's got the set password link. So because of that, we went to app.js, we created a new route for that set password.
Think you're sharing. Screen.
What?
Your screen.
Yeah, what about it?
I don't think you're sharing. Are you sharing?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Anyone else see my screen?
Okay, I can see it now.
Okay. Okay, so we had a link to set password here, right? And that's getting sent in an email. But when the user actually clicks on that link, we need to have a route for that set password screen. So we created this route here, and then we went to set password and just created a component so that we have an H1 so that when they click on that link, they've got a place to land.
Okay.
And then Doug asked a question of, hey, we were using localhost 3000 in here. Won't that change when we deploy? So what we did is we said, based off of the environment URL that Heroku sets in, if this is set, that must mean that you've deployed the app. So use your URL for the blog front end. Otherwise, use localhost 3000 because we must be running it locally. So this is very similar. If you want to check out the code in your db.js that changes what database it connects into, this is going to be very similar code to that. That answered your question, right, Doug?
Yes,
Cool.
it did. The DB URL, I'm noticing in the db.js file, We have process.env.database URL. Is that is
Thank you.
DB?
No, it should be using whatever's in your db.js.
And is that a sequelized thing?
No, that's set in the config file of your Heroku. So if you go into like your Heroku project and go to settings, there's an environment variables area, and you must have set it in there.
Okay, so process.env, that's just,
Oh, that's a node thing.
that is, okay,
That's a node thing, yes.
thank you.
You happen to be using it in SQLized with the database URL, but process.env is a node thing. Any other questions? Anyone need more time before we keep going?
Me a little bit more time.
Sure. Zach, go ahead. You want to share?
Just saying I need more time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll give you guys a minute. Zach, go ahead.
I just want to make sure I have the correct URL for the database URL.
I
share my screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks. When I have it pulled up in Heroku, this is the URL that I have. So I just drop that in here. Is that right? Or no?
Yeah, yes, just change your HTTPS for the localhost one to HTTP.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And then in your href in the HTML on line 67, you want to replace the HTTP all the way to the 3000 with a $ curly brace URL. Yep, you got it. Just delete that and do URL. And
Okay.
then scroll back over a little bit so I can see there you go, lowercase URL, because it's going to match the URL on 59.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Good to keep going. Cool. Okay. Okay, so now let's go back to Trello. Where are we at? We are at make set password page, have a form to enter the new password. Okay, well, that's pretty easy. We're going to do a form. We're going to say there's a label that says enter new password. And then there's going to be an input that's a type of password. And it's going to have a class name of form-control because we're using Bootstrap. And it can be a self-closing tag. And while I'm here, let's get a little fancier and say confirm new password. But we need access to what they've typed in here. So we're going to need not only one state, but two states. So we're going to say password set password equals the use state that starts out as an empty string. And we are going to do that all over again with a password, confirm password, and a set confirm password with a use state of an empty string. And we're going to say this value is password. And when there is a change, get the event. And set the password to the event target value. And we can reuse all of that on the password down here. And say confirm password and set confirm password. And finally, we are going to need a button that says set password. That is a type submit and a class name of BTN and BTN primary. And then we can do something like we need our import for our use state. And we can say const form submitted equals an async function. And on submit of our form, do a form submitted. And last thing I'll do in here before we take a break, I'll say if password does not equal the confirm password, alert, your passwords don't match. Try again. Else, if there isn't a password set, if they just did an empty password field, alert, your password can't be empty. Else, reset password API call goes here. So I go to my Chrome, I go to my blog, I've got my set password. If I click the set password button, I get a your password can't be empty. If I type in 1, 2, 3 and the letter A here and hit set password, I get your passwords don't match. And if I type in 2 passwords that are the equal length, it should be ready for me. I forgot my event prevent default. Okay, I know that was a lot. Hopefully that because this is a review, it's just practice, but pausing there to see where you guys are at. Had a one-on-one with Wayne today, and he said, do you just type really fast, or do you have some like magic autocomplete that you use? And I said, no, I just type really fast. And he was like, yeah, definitely tell students in cohort 4 that.
I agree. Like sometimes my fingers cramp up and I'm just like, I don't even know how to get my finger over here to this letter. And then I have to like use one hand and then I'm like, just forget it.
My favorite is at the beginning of the cohort, there's always one student who's always like, I've never typed a backtick on a computer in my life. What is a backtick?
I agree. Not until this. I've seen it, but I never knew what it was for. I didn't even know what it was called.
The other one that people have never typed are the vertical bar for the OR operator, which is like underneath the delete key. No one knows what the vertical bar is. They're like, I've worked on computers for 20 years and I've never noticed that on a keyboard.
I use it more for like styling, like in your bio or something.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so set
as you guys are typing this, we've reached the point in React that you really should understand all of this. So if you don't, now is the perfect time to ask questions about what every line is doing or why we use the syntax that we do. Anyone need help? Zach, you want to share your screen?
Yeah,
Go for
Whack.
it's saying set password is not assigned a value. Or it's assigned a value but never used, I guess.
it. Scroll down to your second input. Value, can set confirm password. line 3, is a warning, and then 48 is what it's worried about. So scroll up to where you did your use states. Scroll over. Use state, set confirm password. Scroll down just a little bit. Did you not do? So confused. You sure the file is saved? Scroll down to 48. What's on 48 and set? Oh, capital S in your export.
Oh, yeah, I fixed that at the top. I didn't fix it at the bottom. Thank you.
I was very confused. Okay, looks like we are good to continue.
Little one more time.
I mean, hopefully you're close because I think you're the last one. Everyone's waiting, so I'm going to keep going here.
Okay.
Okay, so we need to do our API call to our backend, which is using our API URL. It's going to go to set password. It's going to be a method of post because we want to include a body, but whenever we include a body, we have to have the headers that set the content type to application JSON, and the body, which is going to JSON.stringify the password. But we can't just send a password to the backend. We need to know what user we are resetting the password for. How are we going to identify that?
Would it be that token that we sent to the email?
It is. If we look at our backend, we've got this token here. This token is what's going to prevent any user from going to the set password page and being able to reset someone else's user. So this token is proving that they went to the email, which is the only place they could have gotten the token, and to reset the user. So how are we going to get access to this token in our front end?
Query params, query string.
Query params. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to say query params React router, and we're going to include v6 because v6 had some helpful things. And well, that's odd. Never seen it do that before. What do you mean 404? That's exactly the documentation I need. Come back. Getting started. API reference, search params, use search params. Okay, this will be good enough. Okay, so use search params gets us access to search params. So let's try and use that. We're going to, just like we have our use route params, we're going to say our search params is equal to our use search params. And then let's just console.log out our search params. So if I go to my browser, and go to Max's blog and do an inspect, what do I get? Nothing's really in here. Well, that's not in here because I just manually went to the set password page. I didn't actually get the token. I didn't click on the link in my email. So if we emulate the email, I'm going to go to my beekeeper and I'm going to go to my blog database and I'm going to look at my users table, and my users table doesn't even have a password reset token set for any of this. So I actually haven't tried my reset flow yet. So I'm going to go to my homepage. I'm going to go to login. I'm going to, oh, why do I fail to fetch? I think I've got the same problems Wayne had in server. I was using username instead of email. So I'm going to do a find and replace on mine. I am really regretting changing my username to an email column instead of just adding a new one. So let's see if that fixes it. I did a find and replace for username, and then I changed all my usernames to emails. One thing that this button that says AB, if you hover over it, it will say preserve case. So if the username started with a capital U, it will make the email start with a capital E. And if the username was in all lowercase, it will keep it all in lowercase. So you'll see here that my email and email are lowercase here, but it went to a capital E here when before this was user with this username. So that's a good way to preserve case when you're changing something out. So let's see if that fixed my backend. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to refresh. I have no errors. I go to my login. Everything's good there. I go to forgot password. I do my max@zane.tech. I hit send link. And now I go back to my database. I hit search and I've got my reset token in here. So I'm going to copy this token. I'm going to go back to my forgot password and I'm going to say set password where the token is equal to this thing up here. And now if I do my search params.get my token, in here, you can see my token is now showing up based off of the token up here.
I need to catch up.
So now that we've got our token, we can send that in our reset. So the only code that we ended up adding to all of this was in our set password. We had our use search params, and we put that import in there. Then we use the search params here. And then we can use the search params when we send the token here. And if your backend is crashing over a missing column, you can do a find and replace for all usernames and replace it with email. Pausing for poll and questions.
Can you run through that one more time?
Yeah. So first things first, if your backend is crashing for no good reason, do a find and replace, find all usernames, replace it with email, and hit the match case button, which is this AB, and then hit replace all. That should replace your usernames with your emails if you're having a crash on your server. If you're not having a crash on your server, don't worry about it. Then over here, we import our use search parameters from the router. We use that use search params hook to get access to the search params. Then we can add in our token search params get token. Finally, I went to my database to get my password reset token from here. If this is empty, you can go back to your localhost 3000, go to login, go to forgot password, enter an email, click send link. Then go back to your beekeeper, hit the search button, and that should have put a token in here that you can then put up in the URL up here. You could also go to your email and just click on the link, and that is going to automatically include the token for you as well. You don't necessarily have to go to Beekeeper to get it. This is kind of the back end way of getting it. But the whole point of the password reset is that this link should be in your email. So when you click on the link, it should take you to this page.
So if I have the token, do I want to try to follow that link?
Yeah, you want to do the set password. You want to basically get to this point with the token, which is obviously going to be different for you. Doug, go ahead.
In your backend code, well, and mine, on line 80, where the message is password has been reset, has it been reset at that point?
No, it hasn't. Good point. Password is ready to be reset.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Should I be getting any sort of like readout or anything when I input it?
On this screen,
I'm not getting anything on that screen or in my console.
that's fine. If you want to take this search params and just do like a console.log on line 10 to make sure it's working, that should make the token show up.
Okay, thanks.
I'll leave that commented out, but that is a good testing step to make sure that you can get the token flowing through.
I think I have that input and it's not console logging out the token.
Did you put is the token showing up in the URL?
Yeah,
All right, go ahead, share your screen. Oh, you're on the password reset page. You should be on the set password page. There you go.
cool. Thank you.
Work.
Okay.
And why do we do post for the method again?
Because I want to include a body, and you can't include a body in a GET request. Although you could say, why don't you make it a put? You're putting the new password into place. Yeah, you could make it a put. Or a patch, or you could really make it whatever you wanted. Anything but a get, because a get's not supposed to have a body in it. I'm gonna give you 1 more minute and then we're gonna keep going.
Can I share?
You sure can. So you don't have a reset token, so go to your password reset page. In your front end, in the browser. And when you click send link. Aha, okay, now when you click send link. You should actually be able to go to your email and just click the link, but the shortcut is if you go back to Beekeeper. You can hit the little search icon in the top right or the refresh icon in the bottom right. You gotta the refresh icon in the bottom right.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, that one's for the table. Beekeeper has 40 gazillion of them. And then if you scroll over. Okay, so you've got some problem where your password reset isn't actually generating the token. So let me take a quick look. Can you take me to your backend code? Okay, so create account, login status, log out, forgot password, find the user. Here's what you're missing. You're missing a user.reset. I'm gonna get the name wrong. Forgot password token. Forgot password token is equal to a nano ID. And now save it in. So I think that's what you're missing. So if we go back to your Chrome and send the link now in your Beekeeper when we refresh. Oh, come on. Password reset token is here. No, password reset. Give me 1 second. There was just a very loud noise. Sorry, a card table fell over and scared the crap out of me. Okay, password reset token. And then I want to just make sure that that's also in user password reset token. Okay, so let's try that again. Save, Chrome, send link, Beekeeper, refresh. Aha. So now we can take that and go back to Chrome and go to your set password page and set the token equal to that thing in the database. And now it says you don't have a set password. And that is because, oh, wrong one.
Did I export it? I think I did.
Where is, this is my set password. Where is yours? Yours. No, that's mine. Crap.
How did that happen?
VS code here. Nope, that's mine. Here, this is yours. Okay, in app, you just forgot to save the app.js file. So now, oh, you've got set password is not defined because we just need to import it. Okay. Now, in your set password, you've got input that needs to be an input. And an into that needs to
Okay.
be input.
Board thing.
And now you've got your search parameters. So to test if this is working, we can just put a console.log in here and you're all caught up.
Thank you.
Comment that out and then we're good. Okay, any questions on any of that before we keep going? All right, believe it or not, we are almost done with all of this. So we go back to our Trello, make the set password page have a form to enter the password. We did that. Make an endpoint that actually resets the password. Well, we're calling this mythical set password function. We need to make that work. So this is hopefully nothing surprising for you at this point. We server.post. Actually, does anyone want to try and write this?
Endpoint.
Yeah,
I'll give it a try.
sure. Can you request remote control of my computer?
I wonder if I still have, I can't,
Oh, you know what? I can make read write. There you go. You should be able to do that now.
where is it?
88.
Post, set, what did you call it on the other end? Set
Set password.
password, comma. Is auth required?
No, because they wouldn't be logged in because they forgot their password.
Okay. Res. Can I cheat and look up here?
Yeah.
Okay, so how if we say const user equals user dot find one where and is your token just called token?
In the database, no, it's called password reset token.
Okay. Where token is equal to the rec body.
And it is called token just on the front end. Yep. And don't fall into the perpetual trap. Whenever we do anything with the database, what do we need? You got it. And in order to use await, we also need to flag something.
Thank you.
There you go. Beautiful. All right. And now that we've got the user, what do we want to do with the user?
If there is a user,
Mm-hmm.
set the password. So we would say, how do we get rid of those old pop-ups? User dot, is it just called password?
Mm-hmm.
Password. Just say equals rec.
Security alert. Unencrypted password.
Oh,
stored in
thank
the
you,
database.
thank you.
And you can totally cheat on that one. There's no way I would be able to do decrypt from memory.
Decrypt hash or something.
Yeah.
Am I going the right way?
I feel like it's down pretty far in create user here. I gotcha.
Okay,
106. Yeah, you were in the right spot. All right, I'll let you take over from there. Beautiful. And then whenever we update the user, what do we have to make sure we do?
Update the session.
Not quite. Whenever we are updating an object in the database, what do we have to call to make it actually stick into the database? So the save function is actually what executes the SQL to put it back into the database.
Oh, okay. Have
And
I
if
been
we-
doing that before?
If we look up here, we did it for the password reset token up on 56 and 57.
Okay. I'm gonna go see if I did, because I must have just copied it blindly.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise,
We can finish. Yep. Perfect. And then here, we're gonna just do our res.send. We can say success true. And now we come back in here, we say the endpoint is done. And the last thing we need to do is take the user to the login page and tell them it's been reset. Good work, Doug. That is, you hit the endpoint spot on.
thank you. I'm gonna go do it in my code.
So over here, we say const get the data from awaiting the response.json. If there is a data.error, alert that there is a data.error. Otherwise, navigate them, which is going to require, oh no, not capital N navigate. It's going to require use navigate. Const navigate. Nope. I think it's just navigate equals use navigate. And then down here, we say navigate to the login screen and say something like password reset equals true. And last step of all of this, we go over to login. We're already using our search params here. For is new user, we'll do the same thing for has password been reset, which is going to line up with our password reset true right here. So we put that in here, and then we go down to here, copy our is new user and say has password been reset, and we just add in your password has been reset. Go log in merrily. Go to the blog. All right. Drum roll, please. We're going to reset our password to secret 1. We're going to do secret 1 here. I'm going to hit set password. It says your password has been reset. Go log in merrily. Now, if I sign in with my max at zane.tech and my password as secret 1 and hit login, API call failed to fetch. Boo. Email has an undefined value. I really am regretting changing my username to email. This should be rec.body.username because that's still getting sent in from the front end. Okay, let's try that again. Log in, and we're in. So we do the best part. We take the last doing task, we put it to done. I'm going to stop here because we are finished. I will poll to make sure you guys are all caught up and have everything working. And then we will take probably break, an earlier break maybe, and then leave the rest of class for capstone questions. Zach, do you see why now I said, maybe wait for class for us to do a reset password?
Yeah.
You never realize how many steps a reset password is, and you kind of take it for granted whenever you are on someone's site and you can reset the password. But believe it or not, there is no easier way of doing this while keeping all of the security. So this is a very realistic flow to reset the password.
Oh,
Oh, one other thing that I'll add is from a security perspective, if that password reset link were used again, because the token is still in the database, the user could reuse that password reset link like months later, which is probably not what you want to let them do. So what you can do from a security perspective is when you update the new password, you can also set their password reset token back to null, and that will prevent that token from being used again down the road.
So Max, after we do everything and we end up back in login and password has been reset, is passed in, then in the return, if the password has been reset, then it says your password has been reset, go log in. So
Yep.
at that point, the user is not logged in. They've just changed their password.
Correct.
Could we log them in when they change their password? Assuming they have permission? Because they have a token?
We could.
I'm-
Yeah, what we would do is in our back end, I love you guys are voting no, but keep going, as if I have another thing that I can keep going on. We could do that in their set password. Once we save the user in, we would just set their rec.session to the user, to the new user that we just updated. And then here we would, in set password, we would navigate them to the admin page instead. So let's see if that works.
Okay, so setting the session user to the user, that's what set that is logging in.
Yes, it should be, I hope. Let's see.
And does setting session user send a cookie to the front end?
Yes.
It does, okay.
Set password where the token is equal to that. We set it to secret. We set this to secret. We set the password. Oh, no, is logged in false. Something didn't work. I wonder if when I do this call, I have to do a credentials include. Let's see if that worked. My token is going to be clear now, so I'm going to set that back in. I'm going to apply it. I'm going to go back to my set password.
Does credentials include require the cookie to be there? Is that where the credentials come from?
It does come from the cookie, but if you do a credentials include, not only will it send the cookie up if the cookie exists, but it will also allow the cookie to be set when the cookie comes back.
Okay, so but if you do credentials include and you don't have a cookie,
It won't send one.
and that so on the back end,
It will recognize there's not a cookie and generate a cookie, which is what the
oh, okay,
uninitialized is that you added in up here. But basically, session knows that if a cookie isn't set, it will generate a cookie.
okay, so it won't cause an error. It won't say, it wouldn't be like you can't log in because you don't, okay.
No. So yeah, if you wanted to modify your flow to log them in automatically once they had set their password, you could do that, but it would be a good idea to do the same password reset true, because once they've set their password, you want to give them some kind of confirmation. Maybe you do something like alert here. If you don't want to add the password reset to the admin page, you could do some kind of alert that said your password has been reset, now taking you to the admin page. Just to give the user some kind of feedback that their reset has been successful, because you don't want to leave them in limbo and make them think, hey, did my set password
Right,
work, or did I just get logged in, or like what's going on there? So you want to give them some kind of feedback, whether it's an alert before you navigate them to admin, or whether you do some kind of search parameter and then add that message to the admin screen.
okay. I'm gonna stick to them having to log in. Well, just, I mean, I see what you're doing, but it does seem like it's a little, I don't know if safer is the word, but it gives them a chance to use their new password right away.
I have seen both flows, so I can't argue one way or the other. Zach, go ahead.
When you put in the user password reset token equals null, why do you put it where you put it?
Because at that point, they have successfully set their new password. So because they have successfully set their new password, I don't want them to be able to click on that link again and reuse the token. So if for whatever reason they came in here and like we couldn't find that token in the database, I wouldn't want to clear the token out in the else. So the only time that we want to clear out the token in the database is if their new password has been successfully set. Anyone have questions or need help?
I'm trying out the whole thing right now.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry, Zach, go ahead.
You're good.
Well, I have a
So I'm getting this error. No routes matched, location login, password reset true. So do I just change this to just login?
No, your password reset true isn't a problem. It's probably that your login page is on a different route. When you go to app.js, what's your login look like?
I think it's
Just an empty slash. So you would say slash ? In your navigate on the reset password,
where am I going?
set password. Just take out the word login and make it just a ? Password reset equals true.
Oh. This probably won't work. Yeah,
Yeah, because your token got reset.
yeah. Email. Okay, so
No, they don't.
probably
Look.
spam. I don't need to do anything. Wait. Okay. Yes. All right.
I'm working on
So
the button for my site. That even once you click it here, you can go to the page that has everything. It's the all button. It's that button. And that's gonna go. These are just placeholders. They're gonna go here. That way you can click it and then go to the page. That's nice. Right? Oh, oh. I actually enjoyed this one recording though. I like this part of creating. Well, they do have websites, right? Max said that we're probably gonna figure out how to possibly like.
why
back
is
and
this
forth
not
with fun
working?
stuff. I like fun and stuff.
I
This
don't
is
have an
fun.
account set
Fun
password
stuff.
on.
I'm gonna do it. Good night, because you're good at designing stuff. Or like.
Can we hear somebody else?
Yeah.
Oh,
It looks really good.
So hit your. Go back to that though and hit refresh on that table just to make sure it's up to date, the bottom right. And then you can grab it if it's the same. Okay, that's a legit one. I can see there's a letter missing.
Okay.
Nice work.
Cool. Thank you.
Can I share?
Sure, go for it.
So based on what we're supposed to be able to do, like in here. But my question is, in Beekeeper, right? You have email, but when you logging in, you
Yeah, so you should update your front end to say, instead of it saying username, it should say email now.
I don't know.
So I'll do that on mine as well. Find any usernames and replace them with email
For the login.
on the login. Yeah.
Fine. No results? Did I type that right? Or should I just put user? Is it username or user? Oh, it's already changed. ID, email. The value is email. This. See. Okay, what I was asking though, I put I'm gonna go through it. So put the link in. Send that. Go back to Beekeeper. Fresh. This supposed to be changed. Select all, go back to,
Max, I don't mean to interrupt, but when we go on break, can you help me with something quickly?
Yep.
this is what happened. 404.
Yeah, but that's something else. I'm guessing, let me request remote control. And go to your front end code. Form on submit, form submitted. Submit. Default. Deflout. D.
Jesus Christ.
There you go.
Ugh.
So you're probably gonna have to go through the token flow again because it probably reset the token.
Oh, that's weird. I hear something underneath the porch. I hope that's not skunks. Jesus Christ. Mm-mm-mm. Do not want no skunks, and they be in. Holy shit! I keep hearing it. All right, I might have to leave. Sorry. Okay. What we do again? My brain going. Sorry. Yeah, here we go. Nope. Okay. So now if I go in here, put that in, input.
Email not found. Take me back to your front end code. And go to your login page.
We're on it. Thank
No,
you.
that's my login page.
My bad. Where is it?
Okay, so you do username and password. You've got username and password. And then your backend, when you go to login, is expecting rec.body.username. So that's right. And then in your database user, you've got the email. Rec body username. You said username. It's tied to username. User, find one, rec body username. Username. Fetch to login and pass all of that. Why is it broken? Oh, because you got a lowercase f in your database.
And it has to be the same.
Yes. Good to go.
Thank you.
Doug, go ahead.
Okay, so I did it. It sent me an email. I clicked on the thing. It put the token in. I put in new passwords. I got an error and I don't know what this is. I looked at password reset token in Beekeeper and it's still there.
Let me see your front end. Reset token, reset token. Oh, you've got your body inside your headers.
That is a problem.
Oh, reboot your backend because the backend crashed when it
Oh.
didn't have a body last time.
Right.
That's crazy.
I think you, okay, that's fine. That worked.
Oh. Awesome.
Good work.
Thank So
Zach, go ahead. Oh, Doug, go ahead.
I had one more question, and I guess this is just a authoring question, not really a coding question.
Mhm.
But should I logged in as one of the blog posters be able to edit everyone else's blog?
It depends. In WordPress, that's how it's set up. So in WordPress, you
That's true
can.
if you're an admin.
Yeah, if you're an admin, the idea is that like you're maintaining the website, and so you may author one blog post, but be an editor on someone else's blog post. So the way WordPress is set up is that you can edit any post or any page on the site, but you could easily make a case for I should only be able to edit my posts, at which point you would modify your code so that when you were on the admin page, you would only see posts where the user ID was equal to the currently signed in user. Good question, though. Zach, go ahead.
Thank you.
I'm just wondering, is there a way to make it so that when it gets redirected to the page where it asks you to input the new password, we can auto populate the token?
We kind of did that in the code that that Doug. Are you talking about after the password's reset or when they get on the set password screen?
When you get to the set password screen, because I have to go to Beekeeper and grab the token.
Oh, no, if you pull up that email that actually gets sent and click on the token, click on that email
that
link,
generates the token.
it should have the token in the URL already. If you look at the backend code for where we set that URL, we set it to the URL set password $token equals the user.forgot password token. Oh, here's the problem. I used the wrong key. It should say password reset token, not forgot password token. So in your backend, it's on 67 for me. Fix your user.forgot password token to be user.password reset token. And then it will appear in that link. Good catch. Nicole, do you want to go ahead and ask your question? We're about to go on. We'll go on break until 7:30 and then come back as a class and work on capstones.
Somebody else has to unshare.
Oh, that would be me. Go ahead.
1 second.
I'm gonna close the breakout room. Wait until you ask your question, Nicole.
So I created a file, because I'm supposed to do that.
Yeah. Close your SendGrid API key for me, just so we don't accidentally get that in the recording. Okay, so you got, yep, gotcha. Okay. Cannot find MHS. So that's, you imported the file and then didn't end up needing it. So if I just take out MHS here. Okay, now we've got an app crashed in db.js because you've got MHS that we're not going to end up using. And now you're back online. So you want to test in your front end and make sure you're good.
Oh, I didn't know I was muted. I'm sorry.
You're
This
fine.
is what it's supposed to look like.
No, it's you're not supposed to have this MHS page at all. The whole
Okay.
point is that the services page gets the type from the URL and links that to the category.
Okay, so I think that's where I was a little bit confused because can I just go to my browser quickly?
Yeah.
So I got confused. But yeah,
So if you
So-
go to mental health services,
right. It shows up, right?
right?
Hold on, I need 5 minutes. Go ahead. I need 5 minutes.
Okay, the way this works is MHS is in the URL, right?
Right.
You see
Mhm.
MHS here? That MHS goes to your front
one
end
second.
code. Oh, close that. Goes to your front end code here. The type comes out of the use params, which is coming from your router. So when it says MHS, it's literally putting MHS right into this type. That type then goes to your backend to the server.js and goes to the services, and the category is MHS. That MHS gets passed into the rec.params, so the only services that get returned are where the category is equal to MHS. So this one services page on your front end is designed to take whatever type you're passing in and automatically only show those up. So that when you go to another page and you go to something that has a category in the database, they will show up. So if I go to your beekeeper and, oh, here's your problem. You were on the right track. You just had capital letters in here. So if you make them lowercase, now over here, when you refresh, when that works. Okay, there's family, there's employment. Employment.
I think it's because I did the same service code under employment and I don't have any code in employment, maybe in my employment. Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm losing myself here.
Services, employment. Did that like not?
I'm sorry, are we on break?
We are, yes.
Oh, what time?
7:30.
7:30?
7:30.
Oh, I'm gonna go eat a fast dinner.
Sorry. Employment goes here. Employment, EMPLOYMENT. Okay, all of that's right. What's happening in our network tab? We go to employment and the services are just empty. Oh, wait, are we services?
Yeah, I'm turning it on, baby.
I have no idea why that's not working.
Can you
Services,
hear me? Oh, you can hear me on the phone. Yeah, is it, can you go to my other pages?
yeah.
'Cause-
Well, because that's what's weird. It's working on some of them. Like if I go to MHS, it works.
But maybe because that's the, is that the,
Category employment rec.params category where the category is it what? Database Capstone database.
Max, could you mute me again, please?
Yep. I am so confused. Why is services category? How do you have your models set up? Services category is just a string. Server. We did type use params. Name category description. Name category description. You've got all of those in there. Why the heck is it not? That's an empty array. Nicole, you've stumped me and I don't like to be stumped.
I'm sorry. I think it has something to do with my front end code. I think it does.
But you're,
Go to my mental health services on the front page.
oh, I've got an idea. Hold on. One last thing to check.
Okay.
Aha, you got a space at the end of the category name.
A space?
Yeah, look, here's the cursor at the end of the T, and then put a space at the end of it.
Okay.
And that must be the same for education as well.
Maybe it's a space before it too.
No, well, we can check. Let's see if that works though.
That's our video.
Employment, there you go.
So
you
just
go
a
to-
space? What is that?
Yeah, it was a space in the database that was making it not work.
Okay. And And you know, nobody else could understand why you had the category and the type. And I kept trying to say that it was params, like because it's in params and it's specifically saying categories that it's like that. But everybody kept being wrapped up on why I don't have mental health services in the database and this in the database and this in the database. And I'm like, no. But yeah, thank you for helping me with that because I was really stumped on that.
Well, I mean, if any bug that takes me more than 3 minutes to fix,
Yeah.
it's for code that I wrote myself is probably a good one. So
Okay.
good.
All right. Thank you so much, Max. Enjoy your break.
Cool. Hey, Sanjay, were you joking or did you actually have a
I'm
capstone?
so
question?
serious. I'm serious. I need help with this image, Max, and then I have another question.
Okay.
Let's see. All right, I need help with I figured out how to I made the container fluid so it got everything extended to the size I want, but I want this image to fix to fit in this container. Like I want it to be as big as this container, like, you know, you see that space? Would I have to do padding or is there something I can do on an image in HTML?
Let me request remote. And if we look in the inspect and click on up here, you can see, because like if we hover over that, you see how there's a little padding, which is in orange on the right, but it doesn't have it on the left or top. We know the problem isn't on the image itself. So if we go up to the navbar brand, we can look there and see, okay, the problem isn't on the navbar brand. And then we go up a little bit bigger and we can see, okay, this container fluid has a little bit, if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, we can see there's some padding there. So if we take that padding out and make it 0, now you see how we got over to the left?
Right.
And
Okay.
then if we go up to the nav bar has some padding on the top, that's 8. So if we take that out, we get pretty close.
Okay.
So basically this nav bar is designed to have padding built into it. So the way we would override that, if I go to your,
CSS.
oh, you know what? You share just this Chrome window. You can share your whole desktop. Oh, never mind. Just full screen's being weird. Okay, so yeah, if we go into your styles here, I just want to make sure that your style sheet is, okay, it's underneath Bootstrap. So whatever we put in here will override this, which is what we want. So if we come in here and we say, hey, the nav bar should have no padding, that should, and if I refresh, that took care of the top padding. And then over here, we said that was on the container fluid, right? So I'm going to say the container, in the nav bar, there is a container fluid because we don't want to make it affect every container fluid, just the container fluids that are in the nav bar, basically. Apparently I can't type. And then in here, I'm going to say the padding on the left should be 0. And now, nope, that's right. Now we're almost there. I don't know what's actually causing.
I think I got that I put inline D inline block. Maybe if you take that out of the image, it would fix the rest.
Oh, it looks like it's in navbar brand. There's some padding top.
Oh, small.
So in the navbar, let me just paste that. Oh, whoa. Navbar brand padding 0. I missed a D, didn't I? I sure did.
Yep. Sorry.
All right, there you go.
All right, one more thing. Okay, you see how you have this
max facials here.
Mhm.
Okay, so once I add the businesses to my table, they'll show up there.
Mhm.
If I don't want it to do that, like I want to be able to, I think I'm gonna come back on that question.
Okay, so
Alright.
let me preemptively answer the question. The thing, so what we did is we basically created a hole for the businesses right here, right? We said info
Right.
goes here, and we tied that to the ID businesses. And then what actually fills this hole and puts in max facials is all of this code down here.
Right.
So if you wanted to, if you said, oh, well, I don't want them to show up as P tags, I want them to show up as like list items, or I want them to show up in a table, this is the code you would modify, because
Okay.
this business HTML plus equals is what is formatting each individual business.
Okay. So so I can make that like a div or
Yeah,
another.
like if you wanted to make it like a list item, now this is going to show up as a bullet point.
Okay. Okay.
So this is what's controlling what shows up for each business. And then this ID businesses is what is making it show up in wherever that business's ID went. I lost it. Here.
It's right there.
So this is where it's going into. So you could adjust this, which is where all the info goes into, and you can adjust this, which is tying it to go into that spot. And then this is what you would adjust to make each business look up differently.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. I'm still, okay.
I think you're still forming the question, but that
Yeah.
should answer the question once you have the question formed.
Right. Thank you.
You know you're a good teacher when you can answer a question before the question has been asked.
No, for real.
Larry, go ahead.
All right, let's see. 23. All right, so I'm gonna create a page where they can pick, well, a component where they can pick the store,
Okay.
and I was looking at like the author component for the blog, and I know it has an ID. It's passing the ID as a parameter, and once they pick the store, I feel like the ID should be passed as a parameter to the server. Is that
sure.
correct?
Yeah.
Thinking.
Yeah.
All right, but I'm kind of at a loss of exactly what to do.
Okay, so you're going to,
I normally need to use params.
Well, you need to get your interface working to pick the store before you can do anything from there. So I'm going to pseudocode this out for you in comments. I won't actually write the code for you, but I'll go through step by step so you can tackle it yourself. So you're going to do use effect to make API call to get lists of stores.
List folk stores work too.
Then you are going to up here, you're going to create a state of empty array to store stores. Gotta love English that is valid to store stores. And then up here, after API call set stores state to list, then you are going to map over state to get access to each store. And then in the return of stores, you will add a button that links to your list input route and includes the ID of the store. Then the last thing you're going to want to do is in your wait. This
That's the
store is
back
in
end.
your back end. This should be in your
Oh
front.
yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, you're right.
I was so freaking confused. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, what's happening?
First things first, move. Ooh, okay. This is going to be on a delay. Move this file to front. And then over in your app.js, you are going to come on. Modify above route to include a /store ID.
Okay.
Oh, and then in here, you can say add use params to get store ID.
Okay.
And finally, include store ID to filter items by store. And then full circle, because I'm doing every step for you, we're going to go to server and we're going to say modify DB query to only match store ID passed in rec.body.
Thank you so much, sir. You are a
Second.
scholar and a gentleman. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Christy, go ahead.
I have a different question.
No, it isn't about a grocery list.
No.
I'm
So,
kidding.
and
Go
I
ahead.
thought it might help for other people. So
Yeah.
if someone asked you to make a website, what would you, my first question is, what would you do? Because my website is connected to me. How would I make them a website? Like, because if they bought a domain name,
Yeah.
they would give me access to log into it. And
Yeah,
then-
oftentimes there are two ways of approaching it. One is saying, well, this is a very loaded question. I could probably teach a 3-hour class on this alone. With that said, I think you're asking specifically about how do I link their DNS to the website that I built for them, right? And the answer is yes. A lot of the times you'll say, did you buy a domain already? And if they say yes, then you can either tell them, hey, here are the DNS records that you need to update to link your domain to the hosting. Or you can say, or if you're comfortable, give me your Namecheap username and password. And heads up, I may need the 2-factor thing that they text you, like the 6-digit code. And then you could go in and modify the DNS on your own. But that also leads you to the next bigger question of where are you hosting their website? It's one thing if you're using free website hosting and you're saying, okay, I'm going to put this up on GitHub Pages and I'll just, link your domain to GitHub Pages. But if you are hosting their site for them on either shared web hosting or on any paid hosting on Heroku or anything like that, it's often best to have them set up the Heroku account and enter their credit card information and all of that so that you just use their sign-in, and that way you aren't responsible for their hosting.
Right. And then once you do that, like, what would you, how much, what's the going rate for a website?
There isn't one. I've seen as cheap as $100 and we're just going to make a Squarespace website for you and do no customizations, and you give me the information, I put it on there, you get no revisions, you get no more additional information, here's your website. I've seen that for as low as $100. I was charging $500 for saying, here is a basic website, you send me a Word document with what information you want in it, you pick out a theme, I make the website for you, you get it, and then you pay a yearly fee for the hosting. I was doing that a couple years ago for $500. From there, I have seen full stack apps. Normally they start at a couple thousand and they go up to tens of thousands. So it depends on how involved the feature is. But you also have to be prepared that if someone wants a custom full stack app, 9 times out of 10, they don't know that they want a custom full stack app. They just want a website that does X, Y, and Z. And you go, okay, well, if you want, a calendar and you want the ability to match people up together, or you want the ability to moderate their comments, or there's a lot of stuff where you have to go, okay, you have to understand that you don't want a website, you want an app, and that's going to be a backend, and that's going to be a database, and there's a lot involved in that. So at that point, you often have to make the decision between, do you need WordPress? And if you need WordPress so that the end user can modify their site without you having to adjust their code, you can go that route. And I always do that because that is a lesson that people learn the hard way. Is you make a website for someone and you give it to them and they're happy with it, and then they come back a month later and they go, oh, our hours changed, can you update that for me? And you go, yeah, sure, for $75 an hour, I'll go do that update. So you go make that little change and you think you're fine. And then they email you another month later and they go, oh, we need a new page added to our site. Or, oh, we added a new team member to our site, or to our company, we need to add their bio, right? And now all of a sudden that gets really expensive. And if you're out on vacation for a week, they may get mad at you that they can't update their website. So that's the beauty of WordPress, is WordPress would let you would let the end user modify the content without having to go into the HTML code and actually change it. So think about WordPress as kind of a special database, right? And that they can modify the database without having to write any code, and their website is just going to magically update. So that's what WordPress is good for. And WordPress has a ton of themes, but it is something that you can make a full career out of being a WordPress website developer. So that's actually going to be one of the topics for next week's add-on module. I'm going to have you a course for how to get started in WordPress and kind of how WordPress works. And then we're going to have an hour at the end of class dedicated to capstone questions or questions you may have about the lessons that you are learning.
Okay.
Ariel is actually a WordPress expert. Do you have anything to add on to that, Ariel?
No, because I left for a brief moment, sent you a message. I just came in to find out you're doing something with WordPress, and that utterly shocked me that word would even come out of your mouth.
Am I hearing that you would
That's the question.
to teach the add-on module for all of WordPress?
Oh, I'm not teaching crap. Nope. You all can learn PHP on your own. I'm not doing it. Nope.
Okay, Larry has his hand up, so
Yeah.
I will wait until next week, and I just wanted to, while nobody had their hand up, get a brief overview.
No, it's a great question, and you're going to have a lot of topics to pick from next week. So WordPress will be one of them. Mobile app development with React Native will be another, and it's completely open next week. So if you want to start on those resources and do 2 days of React Native and 2 days of WordPress, you can totally do that. If you say, Max, I'm so stressed on my capstone, I just want to work on that, that's completely fine, right? The whole point is to kind of open it up and have you guys explore these other topics while still having me around to answer questions. Now, obviously, I am not a WordPress expert. I am not a React Native expert. All the topics I'm going to list out I have varying degrees of experience with, but I do have some experience with all of that. So when you get stuck at a certain point in the course, the idea is that you can come back and ask questions.
Also, somebody should show us how to get her pages.
We did do GitHub Pages. We deployed your first portfolio site on GitHub Pages.
That was pages? I thought it was just GitHub.
Nope, that was GitHub Pages. That is class number to my handy dandy schedule. Week 5, day 1, I'm guessing is when we deploys part 1 and 2. Did you do that with Nathan? I'm pretty sure you did that with Nathan. So it would be week 6, days 2 and 3. Before I forget, office hours, 5 p.m. virtual. Unless anyone has major objections, but every
You
time
said on Sunday?
Sunday.
Sunday at 5. Doug, go ahead.
I have a JSX syntax question.
Oh boy, sorry, Larry, I completely skipped you. I'll circle back.
Sorry, I didn't see your hand, Larry.
He put it down because I called on him and then I got distracted, totally ADD'd. Okay.
So I'm trying to say if current user ID is equal to the post author ID, write this, otherwise just don't put anything. And
okay. I've got a couple ideas here, but I need to try them in order to see if it's gonna work. You're closing curly. So this is my first guess. Return. This parenthesis closes this parenthesis. So we don't need these anymore. And then that closes that, that closes that, and we don't have any errors. So because this is in JavaScript mode, we can just return this out directly. We don't need to wrap this whole thing in curly braces.
okay,
However, that is kind of confusing it because when we say return here, it thinks we're returning an object and it doesn't have a value. So what we do is when we say return, we're still in kind of JavaScript mode here. We're basically saying we don't need to go from JavaScript to JSX back to JavaScript. We can just stay in JavaScript mode.
so, but this
Is JSX, and it's in JSX mode because it starts out with a TR, so it knows it's in that mode.
okay. So yeah, the rules are you can write the HTML inside the JavaScript, but JavaScript inside of HTML needs.
Yeah, you shouldn't convert. You shouldn't go from JavaScript to JSX back to JavaScript. And that's what you were trying to do here. You were like, okay, I'm in JavaScript mode here, and then I'm going to write some JSX here. And that's what was confusing.
Okay.
So I instead say, no, you're in JavaScript, stay in JavaScript, and stay in JavaScript until you hit some JSX.
And then is it going back to JavaScript here?
Yeah, yes. it's kind of hard to draw the line between JSX and JavaScript syntax because a ternary is very much valid JavaScript as well. But whenever you do a return out directly, you just return, you wouldn't put this in curly braces.
Okay, and I think I was putting it in curly braces because the return was in parentheses. And I felt like, oh, so this is all the HTML stuff. So in order to write JavaScript, I got to put it in braces. I'm still getting the hang of when you switch from one to the other.
Yeah, I can't really, I don't have like a rule to point to that says, here's why that was invalid, but I just know from experience in React that that is why it was invalid.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I wish I had a more definitive answer for you, but at least you have a fix.
Yeah, and seeing it done helps me learn how it's done.
Cool. All right, Larry, I mean it this time. Go ahead.
So I was watching a tutorial, and it was a React tutorial, and the guy, he said import React, so like capital, R React, comma, then and the curly braces use state from React. When by him saying bring in React with a capital R, did that bring in everything from React?
Yeah, great question. No, it didn't. It actually used to be a requirement that before you wrote any JSX, you had to import React. And up until React version 17 or 18, somewhere around there, if you wrote a component that had any JSX in it and then imported it in another file, the React server would yell at you and go, no, you can't use JSX until you import React, because all of the JSX syntax pulls in through React. You've got to give us a heads up that this component is importing React so that we know that that syntax is coming that way. So it used to be, you know how we always, when we make a new component, we do our export, our component name, we return a div, we export the default. It used to be muscle memory to import React from React and then go do the rest of the, const component name equals and all of that stuff. But something changed in React in version 18. React got smart enough to say you don't need to import React in every single component anymore. And that's why we don't do that step. It doesn't hurt to do the step because I think it's happening behind the scenes, but that import React from React is basically telling the Webpack, which is kind of like a compiler, to be prepared for JSX syntax coming down the road.
Okay, I noticed he was using like a code snippet, so that might have also came with the snippet itself.
Yes, yeah. And
All right.
depending on
Thank
what
you.
version of React you're using, like if you go into a company and they're using React 16 and for whatever reason haven't upgraded yet, you may find that when you make a new component, you'll get an error in your console that says import React before using JSX syntax. And at that point, you just have to import React from React.
Thank you.
Other questions? Could we actually get out of here a full 30 minutes early on a Thursday?
Absolutely not.
Max,
I
I had
could
you
use
this
those 30
early this
minutes.
morning. I can give you 30 minutes back, even though I might have a question later, but I'm fine with giving you 30 minutes back.
I think I had several one-on-ones today, and I think I successfully fried 2 or 3 brains, I think.
My supervisor
Definitely did
definitely fried my brain. So I had I was telling them earlier in the other room, I had a function to get a user's role name, and it was maybe 10 lines of code. And I figured it probably could be a way to refactor it. So he comes over for our peer session, and he's like, that works and that looks nice and everything. Can you think of a way to write it in one line? I'm like, I'm saying, well, maybe I can use a ternary, but I have a third condition. So I'm like, no. So he was like, remember the OR operator? Just put all three conditions, all three things next to the OR operator, and whatever one is true from left to right, it will return. I was like, oh, wow. Then he had me try to do something else a different way. And I was like, listen, my brains are fried right now. And he said, hey, let's go to happy hour. I'm like, okay.
I would say that while fewer lines of code is often looked upon as cleaner code, there is also a balance there, because there becomes a point where you make your code so concise that it's hard to understand what it's doing. Now, I'm not saying that your code, it could very well be that 2 or 3 lines pulled it off in a much cleaner way. But I've also worked with a lot of senior developers who write their code so succinctly that when our junior developers get to it, they're like, no idea what this is doing, not even going to touch this. We'll put a console log before it and a console log after it and just assume that it works, right? So there are actually times that more lines of code is actually better for clean code, but it totally depends on the situation, right? Because there are also times that I look at someone's code and I'm like, oh, hell to the no, I'm not merging that. Like, you need to refactor this. And I'll write a comment that says like, hey, try and refactor it using this approach, or, remember that this ES6 feature is the way to go, or whatever it is. But at Tuzag, none of our code gets deployed unless someone else reviews it. And if, there's some bug that's causing a production failure, I have admin override access. I can just sneak some code in. But for the most part, even code that I write in the rare situations that I still get to write code, that still goes to one of our other developers who reviews it before it goes out and gets deployed and goes to production. So code reviews are definitely a good industry practice that, whether it's in person or whether it's asynchronous or whatever it is, a good company practice is to have someone else review your code before it goes out.
Cool.
I have written code that has deleted thousands of lines in the databases and had to spend hours and hours in backups to recover all of that information because my dumbass deployed it instead of asking for it to be reviewed before I deployed it. So
you're recording that.
It takes a good developer to admit that they make mistakes.
So, Capstone question?
Yeah, go for it.
Can I share? Oh. All right, so I'm in the process of trying to link my 2 buttons to click left and right, but not just that. What I really want to do is to link my details to how many times a specific file is viewed. But this is where I'm at. So I put these 2 buttons in, and I started the.
Okay, yeah, you're on the right track. So what you're trying to do is what is called pagination or pagination. I've heard it both ways. But what you're going to need to do is pass a, I'm going to send you an article for this. Okay.
I know I'm gonna have to create another page specifically just to like bring up the specific image, like maybe when you click on it or something.
Yep, you're definitely going to have to do that. What you need to do is modify the fetch call in the images on line 12 to include some information about what page you're on. And then you're going to need to here, let me request remote control and I can leave some comments in for you. We're going to say add new use state to keep track of what page number you're on. Modify fetch to include page num info, so the backend knows what images to return. Then in your server, we're going to go to your images and use the link Max select me to include offset and limit inside find all params. And then you're going to link next button to state page num and trigger new API call. Any questions on that?
No, I'll start tackling it and see.
All right. Good
see what's-
luck.
Yep.
Zach, go ahead.
So we were working on our code, all class, Capstone code, and I didn't open it in GitHub desktop. I opened it from my folder. So how do I like combine that again?
Share
Copy
your
and paste. The
Yeah,
whole
you can-
page is over.
you can basically do exactly what Nicole said, just copy and paste it. So, but I would do it in Finder. I wouldn't worry about doing it in VS Code. So if you
Oh yeah, good point.
if you just go to your folders, and then now when you go into GitHub desktop, it should magically have the changes in it.
Cool.
Good to go.
Thank you.
No problem. Larry, go ahead. You're muted.
For my thing to get the store by the parameter, I have to actually create a route like get store and by such and such /ID or whatever.
You're gonna modify your list input component to receive the store ID as another parameter.
Oh shit, my smart. I know you gave me a lot already.
It's okay.
All right, so here, I'm following, what you outlined. Can you see the right screen?
Yep, you're good.
So in my mind, I have to make a fetch to a URL, my back end with a route for store and then with the param IDs, is that correct?
No, so the pick store is going to show all of the stores. And then when you click on one of the stores, it is going to take you to your list input with the store ID that you picked.
Okay, so
this isn't just get store, it's get stores.
stores, okay, and so
Because-
basically go back there and find all. So
You
I have
got
to go back, okay, find all right.
Yep, you're gonna find all of them. This page, it's kind of like our search results, right? Before we add the item to the list, we've got to show them what all the search results are, and then they can add the item to the list. So the same
Okay, so
thing
I
goes
don't,
here.
so I don't need the parameters ID right here.
Not here, you'll need it in list input after they pick what store they want.
Okay. All right, I'll try to figure that one out. Thank you.
No problem. Doug, go ahead.
First, I wanted to ask Larry to send me the link for how you set up that, was that Pheno in your terminal?
Yeah. Do you have Oh My ZSH installed?
No. Gotta do
All
that.
right, so yeah, you want to do that first, and I'll send you the information on how to do it. After, you know, once you get that installed, and you just have to just open the file and edit it.
All right,
Got his
cool.
terminal in style, man.
Yeah, I like
Hold on. If nobody else has none, I could just show you real quick.
Yeah, go
just
for
to
it.
Be a little bit more.
I use Oh My ZSH. See if that
Let's
carry
see.
over.
Right, so you can see my terminal. So once you have Oh My ZSH installed, however you say it, you're gonna nano, and then let's see, tilde /ZSHRC, and that's gonna open up this file. And if you look down where it says themes, you just set that theme variable to the theme that you want to use. So you can take a screenshot if you want to.
Oh, good idea.
If I remember, I can share mine as well. I don't have it set up on the Hack Upstate account that I teach from, but the account that I use for my day job, I cannot imagine using life without Oh My ZSH. The other thing that I have set up on mine is it will actually show you, if you're in a Git repo, what current branch you're on that repository, which doesn't sound helpful until you're working in a team and working on a lot of different branches. Because then you start writing some code, or you go to run your npm run start and you're like, oh shit, I'm in main. I shouldn't be here. I should be in my own little branch. So that's a really helpful thing. But I can share mine as well.
Cool.
And that's on mine too. And then it shows like, looks like X's maybe, if there's changes that haven't been pushed.
Or
Oh,
committed.
So it's got
And
a
then a
lot,
check mark if everything is pushed.
a lot of Git information.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's all customizable. So Oh My ZSH has a fair amount of plugins. I'm trying to remember. I have at least 1 or 2 plugins, and then there's a way to like turn on colors as well. It's been a while since I've set it up. But when I did get my new Mac, I was like, I couldn't figure out why my terminal was so crappy and not working like as efficiently as I'm used to it. And then I remembered that I set up Oh My ZSH so long ago and just forgot about it.
Yeah, but then I got iTerm 2 for terminal.
Yeah, there's
Nicole, I thought you had that already. Remember
not
your
sure.
terminal kept changing colors, like kept changing
Oh no, that
all
was
the
just the
time?
background. But I want
Oh.
I want the circles, and I want the highlighted colors, like letters, like I want all that. I want the branch,
Like
little
a
line
little-
arm thing.
But you have to
Drops down to the next
install
line.
Oh My ZSH. I'm probably saying it wrong. What would you say, Doug?
I like how the
Can you
little pipe comes down to the next line
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, but I saw
Yeah.
Nathan with that. I said, oh yeah, I know how to. I already had stuff installed. I know how to change it to that. So I was like, yes,
Oh, okay.
I'm changing it right
I'm
now.
installing Oh My
Yeah.
ZSH tonight.
Nicole, you got to install it first, and once you install it, I can show you how to change it.
Can you
to-
just, because I don't want to take up too much time, can you just, put it in my, in the Slack channel? Like the name of it, so then I could look it up.
Nicole, did you get your other question answered?
Just
Yeah.
Google OMyZ,
Okay.
Google OMyZSH, so you can download it first, and then once you download it,
Okay,
because you have to
one
download it.
second. Cause I'm on one monitor right now. 1 second.
So I did have one other question or about Heroku. I got emails saying that within a few days, my database is gonna get blown up because it has too many entries in it,
Yes, I love it.
because I'm on the free account. Has anyone else run into that?
Probably not. I've got,
Larry,
Not
you
yet.
deployed- Oh,
Blown
if you
up? What does that
deployed to Heroku, you're definitely gonna get that.
I've got bad news. Heroku just announced that come November, they're no longer going to offer free accounts at all. And that they're gonna start charging like $15 a month for, well, it's like $7 a month for a server and then like $9 a month for a Postgres database. So that's less than ideal.
It was fun while it lasted.
So you can either pony up, and if you've got money left on your stipend, that's totally fine to use that. I can't say this for sure, but I'm pretty sure that your stipend money does not expire at the end of the cohort. So if you have money left on your card, you should still be able to use it. If that is a concern for you, message Jason to confirm that. But that is totally fine to use stipend money for Heroku. There are also $100 of DigitalOcean credits and $100 of Azure credits that come with the GitHub student pack. So it is a different deploy process, but I do think that next cohort will be using DigitalOcean instead of Heroku. And also, while we are at it, one of my favorite brew commands, one of the most common mistyped commands is that when you ls, obviously it shows you all of your current files. But when you're typing as fast as I do normally, you often type SL by accident because it's, you know, two letters right after each other. So there is a great brew install SL. And it may take a minute to install it, but once you have it installed, you can literally SL and you will get a steam locomotive running across the screen just to remind you, hey, you're typing too fast. Maybe slow down a little bit.
I'm going to get that right now.
And whenever you get it, you do the SL and you're like, what the? Oh, I typed that wrong. And if you hit Control Z, you get out of it immediately. But that's just a little hidden gem for you. Christy, go ahead.
Wait, let's back up to Heroku. So, GitHub Pages, if you try to deploy on GitHub Pages, it will only do front end, right? It won't.
Correct.
So we have to use Heroku.
Or some other cloud platform that supports a Node.js deploy and a Postgres deploy. Yes. Node.js support and Postgres support are the two things that you would need.
Right, because our capstones, you know, past November is not gonna,
Well, they would still be up. Your GitHub repo would still be up. So you could still send someone to the code and say, hey, I completed this project. Here are some screenshots of it. But if you want your code to be runnable past November, yes, you're either going to have to pay Heroku or learn DigitalOcean or Azure to get the free credits from them. But it's still only $100 in free credits. So once those credits run out, you would have to pay for it.
Azure is Microsoft.
Yes. It's pretty intensive to run a server that can run backend code. So that's why it's not free. It's because, you know, it costs hardware and all of that. So even though you've got a pretty basic backend at this point, you know, it costs them money to have the server hardware and to maintain the infrastructure and pay for the power and the bandwidth and all of that stuff. So front end sites are easier to host because they're so small, and they don't have as many security vulnerabilities. So that's why you can still get free hosting. But for a back end deploy, yeah, you're going to have to either use the free credits that come with the GitHub student pack and switch over to DigitalOcean, or start paying at Heroku. They literally just announced that today.
And the local host is not something that you can share with someone else.
Not really. You could go down a path of like buying a Raspberry Pi and hosting your own web server, but that's a little too out of the scope of a boot camp to explain how to do that.
Okay.
I do have a Raspberry Pi.
Zach, go ahead.
I'm having a problem with my create profile. So when I go to create profile, I set it up so that I can input a username, password, and email.
Yeah.
But when I try to do that, it's already taken. Well, it yeah, there we go. It doesn't create an email.
Okay, so let's start on your front end. Your front end is using email and set email. Oh, well, this is your password reset. Take me to your create profile. Okay. Email, set email, but look at what you're passing in your body. The body of the API call. Nope, too far. 23.
Oh, thank you.
And then
Yes.
have you also updated your backend to use rec.body.email?
I think so. Do I need a comma here or no?
Nope, not at the end.
Let's see. Where's that? New user. Yeah.
Yep, you got all of that right there. You just weren't sending it in the front end.
Cool. So let me save that and then delete that again. Nice. Thank you.
No problem. Other questions?
I have a question.
Yep.
I know you said like you don't think we should have like Bootstrap and everything mixed together, but is there other things that I can use besides Bootstrap?
A framework that we use in React is called Material UI. Material UI, you have to be careful because when you use two UI frameworks, sometimes they have classes that are called the same things, and the two will conflict with each other. So as soon as you install Material UI, before you even use one of their components, it is possible that it will conflict with Bootstrap. So you can try it and you might get lucky and there might not be conflicts, but you may also run into problems. So Material UI is a little bit more modern, and it uses that Material UI theme, but it has very similar components to what Bootstrap has. With that said, if you find another component that you would like to use that is not part of an entire framework and is just that individual component, you are more than welcome to use just that component. I'm just putting the warning out. I'm not saying don't do it. I won't help you if you do it. But the warning is for two entire frameworks. But if you are using Bootstrap as a framework and find this other standalone component that's just that one component, you can use that.
Okay, thank you. Because I was thinking about, because I wanted to do some, not on my capstone, but on my portfolio, I wanted to add like the GitHub thing. I already use Bootstrap. I just didn't want font awesome to like not work with it. So
Fun Awesome's pretty good about playing nice with others. So you shouldn't have any Fun Awesome conflicts. The only conflict that I would be worried about is Bootstrap. Doug, go ahead.
Okay, so I got this far. I got Oh My ZSH installed. And I went, where's the theme? I changed the theme to Pheno. Now, how do I get out of here?
Control O.
Control X.
Whoa. Before Control X, you're in Nano, right? Oh, wait.
Yeah.
You opened it in text edit. So Command S to save.
Command S?
Yes, Command S.
Yeah.
And then Command Q to quit it. Because you're in text edit, you're not actually in Nano.
Oh, okay.
And then if you hit cancel on that, if you don't want to close that, you can just close the other window.
Okay, and so then my terminal,
Quit your terminal entirely and then reopen it. And there you go.
There you go.
oh, yeah. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
yeah, I'm gonna go too just to go work on stuff. So good night, everyone.
All right, are we
Thank you.
good to end 3 minutes early, or we have one more
All
question?
right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
See y'all. Have a
Thanks,
good one.
Max.
I got
Office hours Sunday at 5.
Sunday at
Zoom.
5.
hold
And
it.
in-person classes every day next week that are optional if you want to attend in person.
How
Yep.
early can we come there again?
I don't think anyone's checking the time clock. I think you could be there whenever you wanted.
Okay.
Chrissy,
One quick question. for
Go ahead,
you.
Wayne. Everyone else can head out.
Chrissy, are you coming?
I told you I have my monitor. again.
Am I on the right track with this?
Yes, you are.
I created the
Yep.
new, and I linked it to.
Now you
But-
gotta tackle the API part. Oh, index is not defined on 32. Oh, instead of index, say page. Page +1.
Okay,
Cool.
so I need to tackle the fetch part.
Yes.
When I read it, not understand the page, the pagination and / limiting.
That's the Stack Overflow link. Did you read that?
I don't know if you can see me. Hold on. I'm still outside. Where's the camera thing?
I sent it in Slack.
So this,
I don't see anything other than your code.
oh,
Oh, sorry. Is that the Stack Overflow link that I sent you?
yeah,
It should. It should be, it says the easiest way to do this is equalize, find, and count all. So you're gonna need to use the limit and the offset in order to get the ones that you want. So you're gonna say, okay, on page 1, I want it to limit it to 10 pictures and offset 0. But then if we're on page 2, I still want to only limit it to 10, but now instead of the offset being 0, I want the offset to be 10 because I want the next 10 in the database.
oh, I'm going in again. Too much skunks out here. But okay, I will tackle that. I'll rewind the recording if I don't.
Cool. Zach, any questions before I head out?
No, I'm still working on it. Thank you, though.
Cool. I'll see you guys hopefully on Sunday, if not on Monday.
Okay.